How's it going, Nottingham Forest TV? My name is Jack, and welcome to my preview for Nottingham Forest versus Burley, taking place at the City Ground. There we are, on Monday night. So yeah, Monday night fixtures, they have their positives to them, but it's just the waiting period. You see what happens in the other games. All the games coming through on a Saturday. You see what happens on the Sunday, and you're just kind of there like, go on, just hurry up. I want it to be Monday night so I can see my team play. I think I put a tweet out earlier on saying I can't be bothered to wait until Monday. I just want Forest to play today. Because you listen to the scores coming in or watch the game, whatever you do, and you're like, you're just itching for your team to play. You want to know what your result's going to be this weekend, and I know it's only a little bit longer of a wait, but it's still kind of just like I want Forest to play now. But yeah, I think going into this game then, it's kind of one where you look at the League Cup game, and I don't really think you can put too much of that into this game, to be honest with you. I think both teams will be playing a much more of a stronger lineup. I definitely know we will be, with the sort of additions we brought in. Sangare will definitely go in that midfield, in my opinion. I think it's a must. Potentially Dominguez to join him in there. Maybe Murillo at the back. A couple of players might be coming back into fitness. I know Felipe played a bit in a B team game in the I think it was in the Papa John's Trophy. You might see the likes of Callum Hudson-Odoi sort of getting involved. So, I think our team will be in a much better position going into this one, rather than it was sort of the team that was selected in the game in the Carabao Cup. And no disrespect to those that played in that performance, but I think the team will be maybe up for it a little bit more, being a league game. You look at the team that we're going to play, put out ourselves, will be a sort of a stronger lineup. I'll touch on who I think is going to start in a little bit on this video. So, I don't think you can really take too much into that one. You look at Burnley's league form, and I don't think they've picked up a single point yet. Obviously, they've played 3 games, whereas everybody else, bar Luton, has played 4. I'll touch on that for a brief moment. I don't know why they didn't choose to take the Luton game at home. I mean, it would have been their first 3 games would have all been home matches. Would have been their first 4 games. No, I think their first 4 games would have all been home matches. They had Man City at home. Villa, I believe, was at home. They were meant to have gone away to Luton, but they had the option to play that at home, and then they had Tottenham at home just before the international break. I don't know why they didn't take the Luton game at home. I don't know whether they're thinking, we might need that home game sort of later on in the season when we do play that game. I don't know, but it's an opportunity to bring points to a position to a team in the league who have no points. No offence to Luton, but it's an opportunity where Burnley are going to look at it and think we have to be beaten at Luton. We have to be beating Luton. Maybe they thought if we lose, then it could be even worse for the morale. I don't know, but you look at the first 2 fixtures, and or even I think it was the first fixture, and then it was a second fixture that they said no to. Or might have been the third. I can't remember. But, by the by, they played Man City at home. They knew they would probably lose that one. They had Villa, which is another difficult one, and Spurs. With Big Ange and everything that Spurs are doing, they know that's going to be a hard game. So I don't know why they didn't say, we'll take that Luton game at home, a game at Turf Moor, where, you kind of expect to be beating them. I don't know why they didn't take it, because it would have done wonders, absolute wonders for their mentality, their mindset. Not maybe mentality is probably not the word. Their mindset, the sort of the feel around the place. So I don't quite know why they didn't decide to do that, but here we are. They played 1 game less than the 18 of the other teams in the league. And, they sit comfortably bottom of the table, just above Luton, I believe. Well, actually, no, maybe they might be bottom because of goal difference. Luton have lost a couple of games, but not heavily. Sort of the last 2 games, they only lost by the solitary goal. So they might be rock bottom, conceding 5 and 3, and I think maybe 3 again, something like that. So, look, in terms of league performance, they're not doing very well, Burnley. They came up with this style of play under Vincent Kompany that absolutely ran through the Championship without much ease, without much problem at all. And then, I guess you could say fair play to Vincent Kompany. He's come up and wanted to try and play that same style of football. A lot of times you can see teams come up, try and change the brand of football to one that they might think will give them a bit more of a chance to stay up in the Premier League. And, the players aren't used to it. The players are kind of more used to what was drilled into them the season before, and it doesn't quite go well. Or maybe sort of in our case, it kind of did a little bit go well because we stayed up and we had to adapt and change in different moments to sort out the situation ahead of us. So there is that. But you look at Vincent Kompany, and you say fair play for sticking with it. You look at Leeds and Bielsa in that first season. I think they finished, was it like 9th or 10th or something like that, playing the same way. They picked up a lot of criticism along the way, but they did really well. So, you look at Burnley and you can say fair play to them for trying to stick with that tactic, but it hasn't really worked so far. And again, they have played some very tricky sides in their opening 3 games, so all the teams that will be looking to try and get in that top 6, top 7 come the end of the season. So, it's not been an easy start. Maybe if they come to Forest, it might be a different story, but it hasn't quite worked so far. What you notice from looking at the analysis and one thing and another about Burnley is they leave a lot of space in the midfield, a lot of space in the defence. They like to play wide. They like to try and make the pitch as wide as possible. They like to keep the ball, play sort of like a Manchester City-esque possession-based play, get the full-backs wide, split the centre-half, sort of try and pass through the opposition, and it hasn't quite worked. You look at the Tottenham game, and with sort of the pace on the break for Spurs, they were able to exploit the gaps left, and Son had an absolute field day getting a hat-trick in that one. So, I look at this one, and with Forest, and I think, well, if they're planning, they haven't played an away league game yet this season, so I don't know whether they're going to look to try and do something different. But if they're planning to play the same sort of style that they were in the past couple of matches, for them it was fine in the League Cup. But like I say, you can't look at that too much because it's going to be totally different teams and everything like that. We played at a different intensity and things, but if they're looking to play that way with the wide gaps and stuff, you've got the likes of Awonyi with his pace, Alanga. I know he picked up an injury or a little knock kind of thing in international football, so I don't know whether or not he'll be back in time for the game, or whether he can come off the bench later on if he's not 100% fit. But look at his pace, Hudson-Odoi's pace. They're going to look at those gaps. They're going to go in as quickly as they can and fill those gaps and get in behind, get round the back and really, really cause problems. I'm feeling really confident for this one. And I feel like, as a team in our position right now, we don't want to be looking at these games and going, these are ones where we kind of need to be winning because they're going to be sort of in and around us. We want to be trying to stop them from getting one above us. I think we want to be looking at these games as ones where we look at them and go, yeah, that's 3 points in the bag. Not ones where we're like, we should be winning this. It's going to be a tough game. But I feel like like last season, we would have looked at a game against a team who have just come up. Maybe, who else came up with us off the top of my head? Bournemouth. You look at Bournemouth at home and thinking, right, it might be a tricky one, but we should be coming out and getting all 3 points. In these sorts of games now, with the players that we brought in and the sort of team we want to become, we've got to look at Burnley at home and say, right, that's a 3 points. That's one that we need to take, and we need to add that to the tally. You look at sort of the Sheffield United game. That's another example. These sorts of teams that are going to be in a relegation scrap, we want to be looking at them and taking the 3 points and moving on, because that we want to be we want to be in that sort of area above the relegation scrap. Where last season you had your Brentfords, your Crystal Palaces towards the end of the season who pulled away a little bit. Teams like that who Wolves kind of pulled into that area a bit towards the end of the season. Spurs will probably be in that area because of their poor season, but they still were Chelsea a little bit as well. Want to be in that area, I think, just above the relegation scrap. And if that's going to be where we're going to end up, these sorts of games are ones we're going to have to try and get 3 points from, and try and expect to get 3 points. And by saying that, I don't mean I'll just turn up and think, right, well, we've already won. Games are going to have to obviously work hard in and put in effort to win and everything like that. But ones where we look at it and think, we're going to say, look, we can go out there and show what we're made of, and not have to sort of worry about it's going to be a tight occasion. We want to be ones where we're going to go and stamp our authority and show what we're about. And I feel like that's a good opportunity to go and do that on Monday night. I am confident. I really am confident for this game. Burnley will be seeing this one as a chance to really start their season off. They'll be seeing us as a sort of a team where they can be like, right, Forest away, we can get a draw, we can get a win maybe. But for us, we want to be looking at this game and saying, right, a team like Burnley at home, 3 points are an absolute must, an absolute. There's no nothing else will be acceptable. I quite think of the phrase. What's the word? There'll be I don't know. The phrase in my head has just completely gone, but there'll be nothing else. Pardon me, nothing else acceptable rather than the 3 points. So yeah, in terms of the lineup, then I've got to look at this one and think. Goalkeeper is a tricky one. Personally, for me, I would play Turner. So I'm going to cough again. Sorry about that, my voice is going. I'll play Turner because he's not put a foot wrong really in a Forest shirt. Maybe you could put question marks kind of on one or two. I don't know. The Man United game was hard. There was a penalty involved there and things, and maybe nothing he could have done with the second goal. Maybe the second one, I don't know. But you look at the Man United game and he kept the score down in moments. Sheffield United, he made some huge stops to keep us in it at 1-1. If it wasn't for him, we could have maybe lost that one. You look at the likes of the Chelsea match and he put in some brilliant saves in that. So for me, I think it's harsh to drop him. There was an article that came out on The Athletic that said the club are looking at Vlachodimos to be the number one. But for me, I think until Turner does something to show you he shouldn't be the number one, then he should be, in my opinion. I would personally start Turner, but if Cooper wants to play Vlachodimos, then absolutely go and do it. I'm not going to argue with Cooper, but I think for me, Turner is the man I would like to see in goal. But there you go. In terms of this game, I'd like to see us go with a back four. I don't think against Burnley we should really be going with a back five. Obviously, if Cooper wants to play back five, then be my guest, Cooper. You know exactly what you're doing. But for me, I think a four at the back is sufficient. I think if you go with Aurier or Montiel, I'm not really too fussed. And then at the left back, Aina or Tavares, not really too fussed on who goes there. Centre halves for me, if Felipe is fit, then he has to play. I think same with Bolly and I think Niakate, Bolly, and Felipe. If they are fit, then any of those two should start for me. Obviously, we brought in Omar and Murillo towards the end of the transfer window, but I don't think that at this current moment they're ready to probably be first team straight away. But any of the three that I mentioned before that, I think any of those three would be great for me. Midfield, then I'd like to see Sangare in there with Dominguez, or Mangala. Definitely Sangare for sure for me. But either Dominguez or Mangala for me alongside him. In behind the striker, I'd have Morgan Gibbs-White absolutely every day of the week. On the left, I would have Alanga if he's fit. And on the right, I would have Hudson-Odoi. With Awoniyi through the middle. If Alanga isn't fit, then we could maybe put I don't know. Who else we got who can play it on the left? Gibbs-White could play on the left, and then you could look to put in somebody behind him, I suppose. But for me, that would be the 11 I would go with. The one I think would be perfectly fine to go out and get all 3 points in this one. So if I have to give a score line, I'm going to say 2-0 Forest. I'm going to say 2-0 Forest. A nice commanding 2-0 victory at home. Goal scorers for me, Taiwo Awoniyi. And why not, let's say, Callum Hudson-Odoi. So yeah, Smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new around here. Let us know down below your thoughts on the game. Man of the match. The game I haven't even played yet. Lineup, predictions, all that good stuff. And yeah, thank you for watching, and come on, you Reds.